body movements you're going to need for today. I need to be able to Turkish get up. So I bring my elbow up to the line of my shoulders. I can use a drive leg, so I take my foot slightly wider than my knee. And I can use a pendulum along with this drive leg to start getting up. Okay, from here, I can then start to get up to my hand. When we get up to that elbow, make sure your hand isn't tucked here. It goes out like this. From here, I can start getting up to my hand. I'm going to anti-shrug to press the ground away, so I can start getting up. Okay, I could use the drive leg and pendulum, or I could just use a vertical pendulum where I cross both feet, we rock up. From here, start the high step. So we need to be able to use the Turkish get up, and we need to be able to back roll. So when I back roll, easiest way to learn it, if this is the line that I'm going to back roll over, I'm going to move my head off the center line and look up along the center line. Bring my knees towards my chest, and I kick my legs up and over, and I come up. Okay, now you can add a little extension of the hip to aid in getting up and over. If you can't back roll, another thing you can do is use a hop in order to take them back and over. So if you just feel like the back roll is not there yet, you can post this foot. We can start hopping, 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 and then come up and over. Today we are going to look at escaping bottom side control against a reverse side sit out. What is a reverse side sit out in the first place? So we've covered squared, dropped hip. Last week we covered a regular side sit out. The reverse side sit out is the opposite way. Now, why would someone choose to do this anyway? If I just feel that I can't get any kind of inside position here, I can bring my hand across and either go to a reverse underhook or a reverse crossface, and I can use this to then start sitting and turning and facing his hips. I generally prefer the reverse underhook because you get a little bit more control. When I transfer to this, there's a few things I can do. I can start using my hands on his legs to start trying to get slide back, so I can get inside of this elbow here. This is where ideally I want to be. Now, when I get to this position, I can start using my hands on his legs to start drawing his legs in, so then I can start stepping over, lifting his bottom leg, crossing my legs into a triangle, and use this to start passing towards mount. It's actually a really effective way to pass towards mount because I land here with this scorpion over both legs. So as he tries to escape, it's really difficult because he can't really use his legs too well off the mat. One of the best ways to pass towards mount, especially if I can't get any inside position at the upper body. The other nice thing about it is I can change towards north-south. So if I didn't like this, it wasn't going well for me, I'd bring my hand to the near hip and I start moving up into a high tripod north-south. So how do we deal with this? So when Lenny takes a reverse side sit out, the first thing I'm going to do, and one thing you want to always keep in mind, is that in every position, there's always going to be an optimum stance for you to take that'll mitigate a lot of your opponent's offense. So the stance I take here is I have my knees together and my feet wide. What this does, if Lenny tries to grab my knee and pull it towards his hip, it just makes it really difficult because my left knee is reinforced by my right knee. Whereas if I'm somewhere like this, he can grab and turn my knees this way. And this makes it a lot harder to move. As I try and move here with my knees kind of tucked here, it makes it more difficult. So I have my knees like this. Now I'm going to have my hand on his back and close and switch my lat on. Same on this side. What I need to do is essentially push him down the body, but I'm not going to use my hands to do so. My arms essentially frame and keep him in place, and I'm going to shoulder walk. So I lift my hips and I roll my shoulder up, and we shuffle back and down. Okay, now once we get to this point and he's over my hips, from here I can start using that Turkish get up. So whether I use a pendulum or a drive leg, I'm coming up to this position here. Now when we get to here, this is essentially called Octopus guard. One of the advantages I have in this position is that he's already down on a hip. There are other variations of Octopus guard where he might be already up on his knees. This is a little different. I'd have to try and get some kind of like Kusoto hook or a butterfly hook or something like this, generally because when we're in Octopus guard, there's equal opportunity to start attacking each other's backs. All Lenny has to do to get towards my back is get his knee, to get my hips, between his knees. If he can just step and move to here, now he's got my back. So if he comes back to the side sit out, you see how He has to do 2 stages to do that. He has to get up to his knees, then he has to step up and over to get my hips between. There is a little bit of advantage here. Potentially he can trap my leg and just step over and then go to it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to be aware of that, and my hand is going to lace inside his far thigh. So as he tries to step over, I can slow this process down. From here, you don't necessarily have to get up to a hand, okay? But what I'm going to look to do, I'm going to lift my hips up. This enables me to get enough space to take my bottom knee and take it towards here. Now from here, I'm going to throw in my first hook. So my left leg goes in between his legs. And now I'm going to take my right hand out and look to seek diagonal control. So anytime I take the back, I want what's referred to as diagonal control. My left leg is hooked onto his right hip. My right hand is onto his right shoulder. What this means that if he goes to turn to the right side, I can follow him with my right hand and keep that chest to back contact. If he tries to turn the other way, my left hook will keep attached to him. So I'm controlling him diagonally. Now from here, if I want to start securing the back, I have to get 4 points of control. So from here, I elongate, bring my strangle arm over the top, and I take my right foot and slot it in between his legs to get my 2 hooks. And then from here, I've secured the back. This is a big money move, going from bottom side control to the back. I'm framing here. I have my knees together. Okay, from here, I'm going to shuffle upwards, and I'll keep walking until he's over my hips. This isn't going to always be a battle that you're not going to win it every time, because he's going to be shuffling back up towards your head as well. But we'll deal with that later. But from here, I'm going to shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. As soon as I get him down, up and over, I'm coming up and hooking inside of his far leg. From here, I'm going to lift my hips, get my knee to the other side of his hip, throw in my first hook, and look to seek diagonal control. From here, strangle arm comes in, we fold towards this side, so my second hook can come in. From here, I've secured the back. Now, while I'm shuffling up, what he's going to be looking to do, he'll be a lot of the time framing on my leg, framing on my hip, and kind of moving with me. And so I want to build up momentum this direction. The thing you don't want to do is stop. So if I start shuffling and he shuffles with me and I stop, he'll just keep shuffling up and my hands get higher and higher. This is no good for me. Okay, so I'm framing and I'm doing this. So he's shuffling with me, backing. So I can get ahead of him. But while he's shuffling back, if I try to get up, I'm going to end up running into him shuffling back. What we have to do here is I'm going to grab his lat, I'm going to grab his shoulder. Now, as he's shuffling this way, all I'm going to do is look to pull to turn his shoulders to face the ceiling. So if I can get his chest to face the ceiling, I can then go into that back roll. I'm shuffling, shuffling, pulling and going into that back roll. And from here, coming up and over. Now, once we get here, I have to kind of be careful here. If I stay like this, he can build up to his elbow and go to octopus guard himself. It's not ideal for me. I'm going to be looking to step over his leg. It's a bit better for me than it was for him because he was in the side sit out, but still I don't really want this. So when we get to here, what I'm going to do is retract my right or my left arm, and we're either going to get inside of his bottom arm and take a near side underhook, or if that elbow is tucked, so a lot of the time his hands are going to be like this, I'm going to get inside of his armpit and use this to start flattening him back out. I'm framing here, I'm shuffling, he's shuffling with me. By the way, if you can get here under this arm, this is best, but it kind of depends upon what's available. But a lot of the time as I'm shuffling, move towards here, I hit the back roll, and we end up here. Right? I want to retract my elbow. If I can get inside the bottom arm, I can lift, flatten him back out. If you go back. If I can't do that, I'm going to go over the top here. So I've got my shoulder into his armpit. We use this to flatten him back out. And from here, you connect your hands and you've reversed him, taking top position. Okay, so a lot of this is going to be about timing. As I mentioned before, if you can't back roll, right, I can do the same thing here. And you see how I hop, 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 get my hips over his. So if the back roll is a problem for you, you can use that knee hop. And the goal is just to get your hips over the top of his and higher than his. Once your hips are higher, you can then get the rest of the way up and on top. You can play one off against the other, right? If I try to back roll, one thing that might happen is he might scoop my leg. Okay, from here, this makes it difficult. However, now I just pendulum forward, I can sit up. So you play the two off against each other. If the back roll, if I'm moving here and he brings his chest forward to try and mitigate this, I just use a pendulum and come up. If he's from here, if he's pushing back hard into me, right, and like shuffling up towards my head and shoulders, right, from here you can go back into that back roll. So you want to make sure you're always kind of keeping a little bit of momentum and trying not to be static. This is where a lot of people go wrong. They end up static, and then the top player just ends up getting her arms up and overhead, and you end up a little bit more pinned. So I'm always shuffling and trying to play off the back roll sweep with the get up to octopus guard. As we have gotten up to here, and I've cleared my knee, now there's going to be a situation, right, where I can't get inside of this elbow. Remember, I needed to get inside of here to get that diagonal control. So if he's got this elbow in tight here, it's going to make it hard to get that. Now, you can throw in the first hook. This will kind of stop him from turning this direction. But even if I didn't, if he went to turn that way anyway, there's opportunities to start taking the back. So you don't have to throw this hook in. But what Lenny's going to do, he's going to turn to face me. So he'll probably turn this direction because I don't have any way of stopping him. Now, when he turns to face me here, he won't leave this elbow across the center line. Okay? If he leaves it here as he turns, right, I can access the hip and I can start turning and taking his back. So he will look to turn and he'll punch in an underhook. As he punches in this underhook, there's an opportunity to move to a guillotine. So I'm going to reach over the top and connect my hands with an arm in guillotine. We're going to take a chin strap. So this hand here, and this is the typical grip you'll take from any front headlock, I will grip his chin like this. So it'll be back like this, and I'll mold it to his jaw. My thumb should catch that mandible bone at the back. So this is the perfect position that you want to be in. So I go from here. I don't punch my hand any deeper. Once I'm here, I know that I'm in the right position. All you need to do is do this. So you make a flattened fist and connect my hands. So you'll go from a chin strap to a flattened fist. Okay, now it's referred to as a gooseneck. You'll have this bend at your wrist. Okay, and I'll connect my hand here like this. And this is the position we want to be in. Now, when you're going for the finish, all the mechanic is like lifting up to bring your wristwatch to your mouth. So you would be here, I'd have the chin strap, I would move to a flattened fist and connect my hands. Typically when you're attacking the guillotine, most beginners think you have to rip the head off. And they'll try and bridge and rip the head off. This is the opposite to what you want to do. If I try to rip the head off, I end up sliding, and a lot of the time, his head will pop out. Sometimes you'll get a neck crank finish. Sometimes you can strangle them, but it's just not efficient. You'll end up burning your arms out, and you'll lose as many guillotines as you get. So instead, what we want to do is crunch his chin to his chest. So I've managed to get to here. However you lock up his hips, it doesn't really matter. The best is if I can get my foot through to close guard. This isn't always going to be the case. Sometimes it'll be across his hip. Sometimes you might even be stuck in half guard. It doesn't necessarily matter, but as soon as we get to here, I fold towards the head. Okay, we don't fall back. It might slip out. So I fold towards the head. I throw my leg over the far hip. Now, what I need to do is crunch his chin to his chest. So to do that, I'm going to do an oblique crunch and bring my elbow down towards my knee. The nice thing about doing it from open guard is I can kind of use my foot on his hip to kind of do like this hip escape style action. So from here, I'm crunching his chin to his chest. I'm going to pinch my knees together and look to draw his hips in. Okay, this puts a further bend in his neck. Once you've done these two, all we need to do is that lifting action to bring my wristwatch towards my mouth. Okay, and barely any squeeze to get your finish. So once again, from the start, we're here. We managed to build up. Okay, and as we go towards here, he turns to face me and punches in the underhook. This is where I lock up that guillotine. Now, if I can get, sometimes my foot might be trapped in something like half guard. This is also fine. If I can get it to close guard and get it over the far hip, that's best, but that's not always going to be the case. So if I'm in half guard, this is also fine, right? I fall towards the head and we crunch over the top. The more I can crunch his chin to his chest, the better. We then pinch our knees together and draw his hips in, and then we bring our hands up to bring the wristwatch towards our mouth. Okay, those three mechanics, and you should be able to finish people with very little effort. You shouldn't need to squeeze too hard.